So you've seen us taste test Brookie cookies, not once, but twice. Yep, we reordered because we forgot to reheat them. This time, we're gonna bake Brookie cookies, starting with this copycat recipe. And then we're gonna try a recipe straight from Brookie herself, a recipe for cowboy cookies. And alongside those two recipes, I'm going to attempt a gluten-free, dairy-free version at the same time. So we're going to start by creaming all the wet ingredients till pale and fluffy. Then we're going to add our dry ingredients and then our chocolate chips and walnuts. I will link the full recipe down below and also a link to the original video from Tastefully Shay so that you can check that one out too. Now because we were making so many different cookie recipes, I scaled down and made a quarter batch. Each quarter batch made about 3 cookies. So feel free to scale down your batch as well if you want to, or do the full recipe, which will give you about 12 cookies. So we've got our wets, we've got our dries, and I'm just gonna scrape the bottom of the bowl to make sure everything gets incorporated before we add our chocolate chips and walnuts. And then we're gonna weigh off 140 gram balls. So this batch ended up making 3 and almost a half balls of cookie dough. Then we're gonna pop them in the freezer for a minimum of 2 hours so they're rock solid and ready to bake. Next up, we're making the cowboy cookies, and it's a very similar recipe except that we're going to be adding some coconut and some oatmeal to this as well. So it's sort of an oatmeal cookie, and it's going to follow the same process of beating the wet until fluffy, then adding the dry, and then adding the mix-ins. Now alongside each of these recipes, I also did a gluten-free, dairy-free version as well, and I will put the substitutions in the description below in case that's the version you want to make. Or if you need just dairy-free or just gluten-free, feel free to go that way too. So once we've got everything nicely combined, we are going to weigh them out into 140 gram balls as well, and then pop them in the freezer for 2 hours. And this is the gluten-free, dairy-free version of the cowboy cookie. I substituted gluten-free flour and dairy-free chocolate chips and dairy-free butter. See, it's a lot wetter of a dough, but after freezing, it came out just the same. It was just trickier to work with to start. And here's what our freezer looked like with 4 sets of dough chilling away. And after 2 hours in the freezer, it's time to bake them. So we've got the oven set to 350 Fahrenheit. And the instructions said 12 to 14 minutes, but comments on them said that most people needed to bake them much longer, up to 22 minutes. So we're going to start with 12 and we'll keep an eye on them and we will go from there. So this is what they all looked like after 12 minutes. Definitely not done. So we ended up going for 5 more minutes, which here we are there 5 minutes later. And another 5 minutes was enough. So it was 22 minutes in total for our oven when we pulled them. Then you let them cool. And then it's time to try them. So first up, we have the copycat recipe and my gluten-free, dairy-free version of the copycat recipe. Wow.
No.
This does look like the texture of the cookies we bought from Australia.
Yes.
That does.
And that costed $114.
Yes, but did you know she has a cookbook coming out?
Actually.
Yes, for real. She has a cookbook coming out November something.
So my gluten-free, dairy-free version looks sad, but I assure you I did bake off one of the balls at the bakery actually earlier before we baked these ones at home, and it baked up really nice, and I ended up eating the whole thing. It was so good.
Remember this view, guys, from our original Brookie video? This is where you saw me waving the box around, all excited, at about this time, bedtime. Which was why we didn't reheat them that first time, right? Because it was bedtime and we wanted to try them. Am I squeezing between you guys?
Sure. This is good.
Ooh, is it worth me glutening myself?
Yes, very much. It melts in your mouth. Mmm.
This is the copycat. I'm gonna take an even smaller bite out.
Mmm. This cookie's the best cookie ever. No, let's leave it after this because that's a whole other cookie. Let's leave that after.
That is very, very reminiscent.
This is amazing.
But it's got the same height and the same texture.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is my gluten-free substitute. Maybe we gotta try it with a different gluten-free blend. It's kind of flattened. Okay.
Is it worth me anti-glutening myself?
Okay, next up. This is the gluten-free cowboy, and this is the cowboy.
I got the one.
We will cut gluten-free first, so we contaminate. This is the, looks so good. This is the recipe that Brookie shared on YouTube. This is the gluten-free cowboy. The cowboy.
The cowboy cookie was a nice oatmeal cookie with a crunch of pecans and with some chew of the coconut. And the gluten-free, dairy-free version worked out well here too. I think because of the inclusion of the oats, it kind of gave it more structure. So that was a success too.
So I'm gonna link the recipes below. Try whatever you like, but I think my gluten-free ones need a little bit of work. They taste delicious.
But they're flat as a plate.
It's flat. That one's your favorite?
Mm-hmm.
We can make that one again. I agree. And then we'll wait till Brookie's cookbook comes out. And then we can make her red velvet. That was our favorite when we ordered them, remember?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Bye.